coming to you live for the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever you are on the free Odyssey app. Good Tuesday morning. It took less than 24 hours after the Super Bowl ended to get our first juicy rumor when it comes to the Jets and Giants. Things have been building up. If you paid attention to some players' tweets or ex-posts, Malik Neighbors and Jermaine Illuminor, and then also a hiring yesterday by the New York Giants makes everybody believe that Matthew Stafford could be headed this way. Couple that with Kelly Stafford talking about how they want a new contract without really saying they want a new contract, the disrespect, the Cooper Kupp trade, all of those things. And then you see the New York Giants hire Kelly Stafford's brother. Oh, get him here makes a ton of sense. Here we go. Buckle up. Big rumor. Matthew Stafford to save the New York Giants in season 101. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Jay. I told you months ago that after the Rams ended their season, they were talking to Sean McVay about the quarterback situation for them, and he basically said, I just want to get this whole thing done with. And then there were all these rumors about him being either retiring or traded, and then he came out and said, I'm not retiring. And what people don't realize is that he had an out in his contract. So all of this noise coming from the Rams after they lost to the Eagles was all about getting a new contract. That's all this is about.
Yeah.
And I think he would like a 3-year, $180 million contract, 3-year, $150 million contract, 3-year, $140 million contract. And if I were in his position, I'd want it too. And certainly Kelly Stafford has, gotten herself in the mix now with her podcast and everything else that goes on around, I guess, these players these days, as their strongest advocates are going to be their wives. And it's all about getting a new contract. And, whether or not this signing by the Giants has any implication regarding what they're trying to do or what they're going to do, I don't see how they would end up spending $40 to $50 million a year on Matthew Stafford at age 37. I don't see that team being the place for him to go. I see him more in Vegas than I do with the Giants.
And Adam Schefter put out yesterday that the Raiders are interested in Sam Darnold, as you said, maybe the Pete Carroll USC thing, so that got a little more momentum yesterday. So, all right. This brother-in-law, whatever his name is, Kelly Stafford's brother, he worked with Brian Daboll in the past. So it's not one of these things where they never knew the guy and they just plucked him off of some staff to bring him here to be an assistant quarterback coach to get Matthew Stafford here. They do have some history there, so it might not be all about Matthew Stafford. But if I'm thinking that it is or has something to do with Matthew Stafford, that means that I got to believe that they don't like the quarterbacks in this draft. That's what I would believe, that they're thinking, all right, our asses are on the line. We know our asses are on the line. And I can't draft one of these two guys with our asses on the line and expect to keep my job. Who is the guy that could put me over the top that could be available, and how hard is it going to be to get that guy? And Matthew Stafford is the answer to that. Now, there's a lot that would have to go into it, all the cap implications, a new contract, and everything else. He'd have to want to come to New York and take on this challenge of turning around this team. So, a lot of that, I don't think it eventually plays out. But I would not be surprised if the Giants are aggressively trying to figure out if they could do it. I just don't think they're going to be able to.
I still think that Shedeur Sanders to the Giants right now still feels the right thing. It feels like it's heading that way. It does feel that way. And just because they need a presence at quarterback and because they need a personality and because they need somebody to be able to sell tickets around, I think the Giant fan would be excited if they ended up trading for Matthew Stafford. But again, the financial ramifications of that and what Joe Schoen is trying to do may actually impede them in doing all the other things that they need to do to shore up this team. And again, he is. It would be like the Jets bringing in Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron was nice enough or believed that if he took less money, they would be able to go out and sign some other people, which they did, by the way. And then, of course, he got hurt, and then we know that story, and that thing's ending, like a ton of bricks. Boom,
unceremoniously.
boom, done, yes.
Yeah.
So now Aaron Rodgers is out there. Who would want him? Would it be Pittsburgh? Would it be the Giants? Would it be, could it be the Raiders? I mean, there are a handful. Could it be the Titans? There are a handful of teams I could see that may want to go after him with a 2-year deal, and maybe part of it is guaranteed, meaning the first year would be guaranteed, and after that they'd have to reassess, and he could be a mercenary that way for one of those teams. But I don't know. I sit here and I think, Matthew Stafford to the Giants after playing in L.A. and playing indoors in Detroit, and he's going to come to the NFC East and play against Washington, Dallas, and the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, from his perspective,
that doesn't make any sense to me.
From his perspective, it doesn't. But the only way that he would look at the Giants as a place to end his career is if they are the only team that's willing to pay him the extension that he wants. And I don't think that's going to be the case. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe the Rams won't do it, but there would be another team out there that he would probably find more palatable to go to end his career than the Giants that would be willing to give him that extension. From the Giants' standpoint, I think it's a great idea, and they should do whatever they can to try to get it done because instantly, I mean, this guy could still play. He's won a Super Bowl. Instantly, the credibility of that team and their ability to compete goes through the roof with him at quarterback, but I just don't know how.
I know one thing, not giving up the number 3 pick, that's for sure.
No, and I wouldn't expect them to because it's going to be a money thing. They're going to have to give him a contract. There's going to be huge cap implications.
This would be like acquiring Brian Burns like they did last year. They'd have to make a trade, and then they'd have to extend his contract.
Sure. Yep.
And, you're going to sit there and you're going to try to tell John Mara we're bringing in a 37-year-old quarterback and we're going to pay him, let's say $130 million, $140 million with $80 million guaranteed or something.
Man, in the last game we saw him play, he was throwing the ball all over the place in snow. And
well, I'm not saying he's a great player, man.
He could still do it, man. I'm telling you.
This is why the Rams traded for him when they did.
Yeah.
I did. Think about this. If he goes to the AFC West, he's got Sean Payton and Bo Nix, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, right? He's got Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert, and it's him and Pete Carroll in that division.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, and I don't want to say that he doesn't want to win. Of course, he wants to win, but he did get a Super Bowl, so he's probably thinking, like, all right, I got one more time to cash in. I mean, this would, Kelly Stafford in her diatribe on her podcast wasn't talking about, we really want to go to a place where we can win another Super Bowl or something like that.
She's talking about a contract.
Right. She was going, we love L.A., but, there's just, there's a level of respect and appreciation and blah, blah, blah. So they don't,
they respected him more than you could ask for from a team. Now, if there is stuff percolating around him about how they need to move on because of salary cap constraints, that's just the nature of the business. That is legitimately the nature of the business. She was also upset because she's emotional about Cooper Kupp leaving, and you can't get emotional in this business. As Luka Doncic and and everybody involved in that trade, found out anybody can be traded, anybody can be moved. If, in fact, a team gets tired of a player or they just don't want to hear any more of the nonsense.
Yeah, so a couple days ago it was Malik Neighbors who put out on X, he had number 9 and then a ram emoji, and obviously number 9
so
is...
you know what he's saying.
And then after that he put 9, 10, Cooper Kupp, ram emoji, and then those were deleted. So someone said stop doing that. And then Jermaine Illuminor, when... he was, I guess he might have quote tweeted something or something to do with the Stafford trade. He goes, all these trade talks come to New York. That was also deleted. So, and then all of that was before the hiring of Kelly Stafford's brother, the brother-in-law to Matthew Stafford. So, I mean, I love these type of things.
I know you do.
It's great.
I'm
into it.
In it. Yes.
The Giants and Jets have been completely dead for years, and something like this would be very exciting. And I truly do believe that the Giants are going to look into this and try to make it happen. But I'm with you. I don't see how Matthew Stafford at this point in his career is going to say, yeah, the Giants is what I want to try to turn around. Unless they're the only team That is willing to give him the contract that he wants. Yeah, that would be the only reason.
That's the caveat. Are they the only team? But, again, the Pete Carroll thing is extremely, extremely attractive because it's indoors. The problem is it's the AFC West. And, Pete may want to go after Sam Darnold. But still, that's going to cost a lot of money. But the difference is age. But the one thing about Matthew Stafford is that he'll make everybody better on the field with him.
Immediately.
Like Sam Darnold, I still think like you're still kind of working with him. You know what I mean? Like you're still kind of like, okay, it's late in the game. Let's not hold on to the ball. Let's get rid of it. And he's going to get his $40 to $50 million a year, probably for 3 years from somebody, maybe 4 years, if there are numerous teams that are trying to get him.
I think that I'm not going to disparage Sam at all. What he did this year was amazing. I felt great for him. He should get every dollar he gets in this offseason, but I don't believe he'll ever play that well again unless he goes back to Minnesota. Because everything was set up for him.
Think about what he did he went to Carolina, then he went to the 49ers,
Mm-hmm.
and basically was just hanging on by a thread. And people knew that he was young and that, there was potential there. And then he signs a low deal, even though it sounds like a lot of money, but for what starting quarterbacks are getting paid, it's not nearly what he should be getting. But he got a $10 million deal from the Vikings. So he was still like on that middling deal and basically had to shelve his career for a year and a half and then came back and caught a break because J.J. McCarthy got hurt, and then was with Kevin O'Connell and had all those great offensive players. And, all I can tell you is that I would be really thinking very hard if I were the Vikings about keeping him.
What are you going to do with J.J. McCarthy? Because
I don't know, maybe
Sam Darnold's going to get a multi-year extension. He's in his 20s still. Then at some point you're going to have to trade the guy. You don't draft a guy number 10 overall to have him be your backup quarterback.
Maybe that's what you do. I don't know. I'm sure they're having internal discussions as to what is the best situation for them moving forward. I would also say that the last 2 games of the year for them probably made them realize that we're not going to be able to win a championship with Sam Darnold.
Yeah,
that's the reality that hit them in the face, and then the question is J.J. McCarthy better in those situations? And they don't know that yet.
Well, there is a history of him winning a championship in college. There is that, and I know they had a great defense, but those are still big games. There's also a history
of Sam Darnold being an unbelievable college quarterback.
He didn't win a national championship.
Yeah, I know, but he also had a great Rose Bowl, and everybody saw it, and it was an amazing. He had a really good college career, although it was short, and he came out way too early.
Yeah, but you're just saying. Is J.J. McCarthy any better at that and winning the big games? There's a history of him doing that. That's all.
They don't know the answer to that. That's the question. And, as Phil Simms told us yesterday, maybe they want to keep Daniel Jones on that roster for a cheap alternative backup.
Yeah, and Sam Darnold is going to need a situation exactly like he had this year to succeed. I can't see him going to the Raiders and having Chip Kelly in his ass for an entire season.
I can.
And it working out?
Yeah, 100% I can.
Okay. You need a coddle guy. You can't go from Kevin O'Connell and Josh McCown putting baby powder on your ass to Chip Kelly ripping it apart.
That's what Pete Carroll is. Pete Carroll's a coddle guy.
But Pete Carroll's not going to be the guy that's working with him every single day.
Pete Carroll will be
plays in his headset.
He'll be up in his grill telling him how great he is. So happy to have you here, and you're the most awesome guy ever, and it's all going to be great. We're going to work this out together. Your defense is going to be awesome. That's the kind of messaging that Pete Carroll
You better get him T. Higgins or somebody else like that, too, because their roster stinks.
By the way, to be T. Higgins right now.
Yeah, I know.
And same thing with to be Devontae Adams. Devontae just needs to get away from Aaron Rodgers. He needs to somehow go to Cincinnati or Buffalo.
Yeah, 2 great spots.
Because he still has a lot of football left to play, but you're not paying him $20 million a year. He would be an incredible second or third opportunity for somebody like Kansas City, somebody like Cincinnati, somebody like Buffalo that may not be able to afford T. Higgins because teams like New England, who have all this cap space, and teams like the Raiders, who have all this cap space, are going to be going after him hard.
Yeah, and they should. I would, if I'm the New England Patriots, then they're at the top of the list with cap space. I mean, you got to go and pay him more than anybody's willing to pay him. Put him with Drake May, and here you go. I mean, Josh McDaniels, Drake May, T. Higgins is a good place to start for a team that's rebuilding.
Like he's going to be, I would think, assuming that there's no tagging and all this other crap going on, it's going to be impossible for Cincinnati to keep him. But he has taken less money because he was a second-round draft choice. And he deserves his big contract. That's where he is right now in his career, and I know Joe Burrow keeps talking about we got to try to keep him. Sooner or later, Joe, you got to get some defensive players.
Yeah.
You got to be able to stop people. You can't score 34 points every game and expect to win every game. You need some help. Maybe you can win a couple of those games, like the first 5 games of the year. Maybe you win 21-17, maybe, as opposed to having to go all the way up into the 30s every time you're playing.
And the other thing, too, I wanted to bring up about the hiring of Matt Stafford's brother-in-law. Everybody assumes that he likes his brother-in-law. Like, you don't know that. I mean, people don't like their in-laws, right? I mean, it's like a thing. Like Aaron Rodgers doesn't talk to anybody in his family. Kelly Stafford, she seems like, she's got a lot to say. She's a little intense. He might be cut from the same cloth. Maybe he says the wrong things at Thanksgiving. Needles people. And maybe he's like, I don't want any part of that guy on the coaching staff, man. I see enough of him. I got to deal with him at Christmas. I got to deal with him with the kid's birthday party. I don't want to deal with him the entire year. Yeah, I have a brother-in-law. I like my brother-in-law. If he ended up working here, I'd be like, that's great. That'd be awesome. But not everybody loves their brother-in-law.
So the guy's name is Chad Hall, and he's been working in the NFL for like the last 6 or 7 years. They're not seeing each other around Christmas and Thanksgiving, I can guarantee you.
Well, there's probably a reason why.
You might as well throw that one out. But I'm, with all this stuff percolating around the Giants, man, this is what the NFL is all about now. It's 24/7, 365. We just got over the Super Bowl. We're just trying to figure out what the hell Kendrick Lamar was telling us at halftime. And, here we go. We're already now into the free agency juices.
Free agency juices. I love it.
And you brought it here.
Give me a glass.
I know. You love it. I mean,
drink it up.
You're all over it.
Well, I mean, if Matthew Stafford went to the Giants, it's immediately an exciting season. I mean, immediately.
Al, I know. I see that you got the helmets out of here, which I appreciate it, but we still got the football here. Maybe you can get us a couple baseball caps.
Baseball caps.
We were thinking baseball helmets, a Mitten Yankee baseball helmet.
Mm.
Oh, okay. You want to try to get a couple of those?
Sure.
He needs your credit card.
No, you could just reach out to the Mets
I can reach
and Yankees.
out. Yeah, absolutely.
Mets and Yankees.
Just reach out to Fanatics. How about that?
They make helmets.
We know that guy, right?
Yeah, I know that guy. Yeah,
He doesn't make helmets. They don't make helmets.
they make everything.
They don't make helmets.
Go
to their website.
I bet you if you go to Fanatics, you'll see
how
helmets.
much? How much you want to bet?
$20.
Okay.
All right. How about breakfast this morning?
I'm not. I don't eat in the mornings now. I'm not eating.
All right. When did that happen?
It's the new year. I decided.
When were you going to tell me that?
When you asked or when you ordered breakfast and you hadn't the entire new year, so it didn't come up.
Well, let me explain something to you.
Yeah.
Eggs and avocado.
I understand.
It's very good for you.
Yeah, it's about the timing of
Eggs and avocado. It costs you $80.
There he is. Scazzeri from 3. Swish. Yes.
You know what the problem with the helmets is? They all have ear flaps built in now on one side. So
you think it's going to be like...
Yeah, it's like a little teeter.
Yeah, but you put something under the other side of the helmet to make it look even.
Okay.
Can you do that?
I think so.
Are the helmets on the website?
They are on the website, but they're not expensive enough to be official helmets.
You don't think
they're
replicas?
replicas.
They're replica
Replicas, yeah. Oh, wait, here's a helmet that looks... Oh, no, so those are signed. Sorry, I'm very confused.
Well, reach out to the Mets. Yeah, they'll send the helmet over
I
here.
told you they have helmets.
Not real helmets. Fugazi helmets.
Oh, now they're Fugazi helmets.
Well, yes, they are. Al just said they were Fugazi helmets.
You didn't say anything about I said they have helmets. You said they didn't have helmets.
The problem the helmets that you put Carvel in. They're not even real helmets.
We get some of those. That'd be cool.
Yeah, little tiny ones right there. Put some stuff in it.
All right, are you on this? That's all I want to know.
Yes.
All right.
I reach out to Z over at the Yankees.
Oh, yeah, Z, Jason Zillow. That man knows he is business. He is all business all the time,
All
Z.
business.
All business all the time. He's probably on vacation right now, though, Z. I could see him
pitchers
somewhere.
and catchers start like today, don't they?
Yeah, but he doesn't need to be down there for that in the beginning. He's probably
Yes,
finished
he
wrapping
does.
up his vacation.
No. They've been on vacation. Now it's all in, baby. It's all in time. Let's go. Let's get down to Tampa.
All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. Jerry's in COVID cottage again.
Why he's not here?
Yeah.
God. Jesus.
So we'll talk to him in just a couple of minutes.
He is Mr. Misery.